Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button as it come in. Also, hit that share button and then subscribe. Hit that Cash App, which is $ BJ Matthews. Again, that's $ BJ Matthews. If you guys would like to, continue the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Make sure you guys actually share and subscribe and show your love to the podcast as it is, man. Definitely appreciate y'all. Let's get it popping. All right, so if you guys get an opportunity, make sure you guys check out our last live last night. LA Clippers prevailing their last preseason game against the Utah Jazz on, was it Tuesday, 98-103. Had a great live last night, but we're back at it right now this morning with another video, short video. Again, this is a pre-recorded video, not a live, so make sure you guys, take that under note. But we got to talk about this, man. So it seems like an NBA player, well-known NBA player, star player, has had an issue with some of the recent rankings coming out from ESPN. ESPN analysts make their rankings every single year right before the season starts. We're at the preseason mode right now. So right now the rankings are coming out, and these are some of the rankings that were made as of recent. I don't believe the top 10 players have been revealed yet as far as ESPN sports analysts. But this is 11 through 15. You got Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, Damian Lillard, and Donovan Mitchell. 23 to 24. You got De'Aaron Fox at 23, Kawhi at 24, Kawhi Leonard, 29, Trae Young, 30, Paolo Banchero, 33, Mikal Bridges. And then you got 34 to 48, Kyrie Irving, Ja Morant, James Harden, and Victor Wembanyama and LaMelo Ball. As y'all come in, smash that like button. Now, like I said, there's a player who has a So the player who had a problem with what was announced was one Kyrie Irving, who was ranked again at number 34. He took to his social media. Kyrie Irving does not have a problem with stating his mind. He says in response to the list, he says, "Who the F cares? I never will. Rankings don't mean a damn thing in this league, especially not from ESPN or any of these other media platforms. Majority's analysts are not credible sources in my eyes, and I don't respect them or their opinions." All right. Appreciate the comment. Again, Mr. Irving was very vocal about this, and he's been very vocal with a lot of different subjects. And I think, when we talk about the rankings, of course, people are going to have their opinions and their, justifications of what they believe is what. I'm going to tell you what I believe in a minute, but let me also, say this. When it comes to rankings, I got to always ask the people, what are they ranking these players by? Are we talking about recency bias, where they're just talking about just the past year and they're going to this upcoming year? Do they talk about, stats or winning? Which one do they value more? And is it based off of, injuries, right? Just because a person is injured, do you just, put them at a low point? And that reason why I talk about injuries, because one of the players, of course, if you look at the, top 30, 35 lists, who's actually, undeservedly ranked so low is Kawhi Leonard. Now, I've been very vocal about this. I've been talking about, Kawhi Leonard being disrespected, different rankings and things of that nature. But this is just, takes the cake. At some point, there has to be a level of common sense, transparency, and not trolling, right? It has to be some type of level of that. And when I look at this list yet again, it says players ranked ahead of Kawhi Leonard in ESPN's expert panel player ranking. This was a page called Coast to Coast. This wasn't a Clipper page. This wasn't my page. This wasn't an LA Clipper fan. This was somebody that was part of a real NBA page who stated this. He said De'Aaron Fox, DeMontis Sabonis, Tyrese Halliburton, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jaylen Brown, Paul George, Jamal Murray, Bam Adebayo, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Anthony Edwards are all ranked and head of Kawhi Leonard. And he said, horrendous list. This will be hilarious to come back in reference to. Listen, again, I understand, and this I'm gonna actually, be a little bit both sides. I'm not gonna just be quickly just saying, oh, this, and Kawhi should get this. I'm just gonna be very, very upfront with you. I'm gonna ask y'all a simple question. Out of all these players, Out of all these players right here, I look at which one of these guys would you guys say actually um, is really over Kawhi Leonard if you had the choice to pick them. If you went to a local park or a local YMCA or a local gym or whatever, and you have the option to say you guys have any choice to pick any players on the court right now of this list, and then you got Kawhi Leonard right beside all these players. Which one of these guys are you guys picking over Kawhi Leonard? Based off of just their game and their ability and what you expect for them to win, which one of these guys are you picking over Kawhi Leonard? How many of these guys are you picking over Kawhi Leonard? And I need to know why. Why do you pick these guys over Kawhi Leonard? If you'd say anything other than um, their games are better, I don't really want to hear your argument. But I know what this is going to be going. It's all going to go back to the same thing we go through every single year for people who act like they don't ever watch basketball or watch players play, who haven't been watching these guys play for a number of years. They act like they just have amnesia. So I'm going to go through this again. Availability, being hurt, and injuries. That is going to always be the Achilles heel. That's going to always be the get out of jail free card. That's going to always be what delusional fans put out there on how they choose to put Kawhi where he's at. Now, again, I spoke to a person this morning about this. I actually put this on my Instagram story. He told me availability is the best ability. And I said, you're exactly right. So how far does that line go when you've seen the guy play like he just missed the entire year? 50, I think 53 games, um, 52, 53 games. We saw Kawhi Leonard play this upcoming season, and we saw him play in the playoffs against Kevin Durant, who's a top 10 player. Um, Even though he has not sniffed nowhere near the conference finals or the NBA finals, right? Um, right. So you're what I do when I talk about who I would pick is players who, number one, I would pick as far as lead them to a championship. So out of this whole list, who on this list has led their team to a championship? The only player who's won a championship on this list is Jamal Murray. And he was not the best player on his own team. That's why the guy next to him, I could say you could put over Kawhi Leonard, even though I feel like Kawhi Leonard is the best player in the league, player, and his ability, what he can do. When you win the championship, you get those bragging rights. But Jamal Murray is not known as a number one option. We have not seen that. We're not going to see that because he's not the best player on his team. He's a scoring weapon. He's another Donovan Mitchell. He's another, Devin Booker, a guy who's a high dynamic scoring guard who's attached to another one option, right? None of these guys have won championship. Jaylen Brown has been to the finals and the conference finals, but never got over the hump, never won a championship, and never, just most recently, looked very, very bad in his last showing. A second option. You got De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, who just went to their first ever playoffs this year. Tyrese Halliburton, who didn't even make the playoffs. Karl Anthony Towns, who got destroyed in the playoffs. Paul George, his own teammate, who said that Kawhi Leonard was the best number one option on our team. He ain't over him. Bam Adebayo went to the finals. All respect to him, but again, just like Jamal Murray and Jaylen Brown, number two options could not lead their team as number ones. Donovan Mitchell, who I love, got beat out in the first round against a Jalen Brunson team twice, 2 years in a row, who has lost to the Clippers in dramatic fashion in 2021. Damian Lillard, who, for all intents and purposes, has looked very, very mediocre within the last couple of seasons due to not just injuries, but just not being able to lead his team to the playoffs. Anthony Edwards, who's an up-and-coming player, but if you think that he's over Kawhi Leonard at this point of his career, you're sadly mistaken. So again, I just had to know, what is the criteria of how you rank these players? What is it? Because when you keep saying injuries, when you keep saying we got to rank a person when healthy, this is the type of list you get. You get a trash ass list, and you get more and more trolling. You get more and more bad basketball takes, right? I don't care if you like Kawhi Leonard or not. I don't care if you respect him or not. his game alone just beats out all these players on this list. And I don't think we have to always go through this year by year. I think there's certain players in the league who deserve a certain amount of prestige and respect on how they are ranked. I think guys like the reason why LeBron James, who I don't even think he should be top 10, is constantly in there is because of his resume. Even though LeBron James has shown the last 2, 3 seasons that Anthony Davis has been the person that he needs as the number one option to have any success. Last year, when Anthony Davis was out and the Lakers had just LeBron James, they were not able to, hold the fort down. Vice versa, when Anthony Davis was the number one option, even with one Russell Westbrook, they were able to hold the fort down at any point in time. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like that's just simply that that dynamic is something very, very steady, right? Um, I'm gonna say this also. John Morant at number 35, and I didn't even say this. John Morant at number 35. Again, we ranking these players simply off of just year by year basis. I think it gets to a point where it gets to be a little bit too much because then you have to refurnish your entire list, right? I have had my run-ins with John Morant. I've had my problems with John Morant, but there's not 35 players better in the NBA than him. You're talking about a guy who's led his team as number 2 seed the last 2 seasons, even though he has missed a lot of games. He's been the best player on his team. He is the culture of Memphis. Um, he's been the culture of Memphis, and he's been somebody that has actually been, um, you know, Memphis is, that's who's been his team. That's been the team that he's been on. That's been the, culture he's led, right? I've spoken about this as well with Jimmy Butler. I don't understand. Well, I do understand what it is. It's just basically simply just they don't really have a high respect for him. The guy is number 12 yet again in this outside the top 10. Devin Booker, they're going based off of these numbers and these stats to rank these players. At some point, winning and taking your team deep into the playoffs has to account for something. You can't keep just having this guy, Jimmy Butler, hanging around outside the top 10 when he's beating guys who are in the top 10. Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, he beat Giannis this year. Giannis played 3 out of the 5 games, so I don't want to hear nothing about Giannis wasn't on the court. The man was on the court. He had 2 dominant performances when he came back, so he was perfectly fine, and he still lost to a Jimmy Butler team who was the number 8 seed, who did not have Tyler Hero, who did not have Victor Oladipo. They were missing players as well. Tyler Hero, if I'm not mistaken, if he didn't lead Miami in scoring last year, he was definitely second in scoring. So you lost that. But and this is a good point. My uncle said, he said the injuries only matter when it's against Miami, but when it's for Miami, the injuries are not there, and that's a true point. Tyler Hero, as a starter caliber player, Victor Oladipo started part of this season as well. Jimmy Butler did not have any of those players. He still ended up being Giannis in Milwaukee, killed Drew Holiday in one-on-one actions and matchups. I don't know what this guy has to do to actually be part of the top 10. It's ridiculous. It's getting to a point where it's getting very, very just bad takes at the end of the day. So again, my take on what Kyrie Irving said was completely on point. I think more of these players need to start calling this out and I just want to have some names attached. If you guys gonna have these blasphemous lists, at least have some names attached. Don't sit up here and just say ESPN NBA rankings, ESPN NBA experts. Don't keep saying that. Put the experts' names on the screen, so I know who to go after that make these terrible lists and these terrible comparisons. No way in hell that I'm sorry, Donovan Mitchell, who I love his game. I love how he, you know what I'm saying, how exciting he is to watch, but he's not over no Kawhi Leonard. And he's in the same boat as I would say a Kyrie Irving. You know, that's what he definitely to me, that's what he is. But I guess people still, live in, they want to, use this whole availability thing instead of actually looking at their ability. They want to use availability to, as a crutch to keep certain guys out of the mix. But it's going to look very, very bad. And once these guys keep beating up on these other players that you have ranked in front of them, that's why I'd be like, bro, these ESPN and NBA experts are just, they're just sad, bro. All they, you know what I'm saying, all like, you know what I'm saying, has to all this stuff, bro. It's very, very disingenuous. But again, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Hit the like, hit the share, the subscribe. Until next time, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull up. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.